am sorry, I tried all the software that you recommended. I just can't find the recording. Like this one is the Google Meet, and I opened it up and there's no recording, so I have to use a different method. I'm using another software. So here we go. Hello, thank you for tuning in the program. We're here to take a closer look on the impact of pandemic. I'm Alex Keys, your reporter today. We will be talking about one specific measure employed by several countries and how it actually plays a part in the impact. The issue. The focus of this report closes in on lockdown. The irreversible closure happens to small business with limited capital, especially. They are more vulnerable to very economy than larger corporates. Airline losses expected to continue through 2021. According to IATA, expect airline industry losses of $47.7 billion in 2021 with a net profit margin of minus 10.4%. Major losers 1. The airline due to travel restrictions. Last year, the impact of fixed costs on unit cost and the collapse of business travel on passenger yields. Airlines would have to boost the loads to more than 75% to break even. Instead, COVID-19 caused a collapse to less than 60% and unprecedented losses. So, losses will continue. 22% fewer tourism workers in 2020. In the number in this graphic shows the decline of tourism unemployment rates in related areas. In November 2020, major Taiwan travel agency has laid off 15% of staff due to the pandemic. Taiwan's tourism industry remains sluggish. A famous Taiwanese travel agent had let go 170 employees as losses amount. Major losses 2. The unemployment rate. International tourism is among economic sector most impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. The UN WTO estimates a loss of 850 million to 1.1 billion international tourist arrivals, 910 million to 1.1 trillion in export revenue, and 100 to 120 million jobs, depending on whether the borders are opened. As previously we saw the losses, this chart shows among the U.S. business that were open in March. A business was counted as closed if it was marked as permanently or temporarily closed, changed in hours to make itself as closed for entire days, or included the closed in COVID-19 business update sections in its Yelp page. So, major losses 3. Small businesses facing mandatory closure during lockdown. Previously, it was the case of the United States. In Taiwan, we are at the beginning of their early phase. Taiwan is famous for its street foods. Many had voiced their closure, not specified temporary or permanently. So, means to an end? What's the end? According to Ministry of Economic Affairs Taiwan 2020, the government seemed happy with the 11.1% growth of 5G industry and the comparison of a lower percentage than other countries in the rest areas. Almost the same attitude with the report in 2021. Well, true that 5G industry influences Taiwan GDP. However, what affects its people's livelihood and quality of lives is medium household income and having a job to go to. Survival and sustaining. Not just to outlive the virus, but to keep quality lives in post-pandemic. If lockdown goes full on, it's not just passively locking people in their house. It doesn't guarantee the end of pandemic. And will people see the end of a lockdown or the end of a hope? Let's take the US as an example. The states in the United States that never practice lockdown are Nebraska, Utah, Iowa, North Dakota, and Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Wyoming. The list you see was sorted according to unemployment rate by April 2021. It's obviously the states that haven't taken the measure of a lockdown have a lower employment rates. And taking California and New York as examples, both have been practicing lockdown for a long period of time. And the impact reflects on visible numbers and invisible psychological health, both for the elders and children. The blue are the states not practicing lockdown. Reason: timing border lockdown was crucial. Taiwan was vigilant to have known the man-to-man contraction. The timing border lockdown was an important move to stop the pandemic flood. And the corresponding measures followed was also the key of a low case count. Lockdown started from China, but is it a good model? China practicing lockdown was the only way for its government to curb the pandemic, not from the angle of healing people. The developed countries have advanced medical technology and equipment. A short time to screen and fix the contaminated community should be quite ample. Well, Sadly, it happened to be the election year. Situation has gone beyond healing the people. It has become a political tool. Conclusion. Maybe turn around and look at some positive act. Purpose for lockdown. Lockdown should only be implemented at the most critical moment. The media has to take up the responsibility for fear-mongering the public. Vaccinating or not shouldn't be the first priority. Keeping people home doesn't kill the virus. Key Park, a lecturer at Harvard Medical School, said, "The best information for controlling infectious disease is the result of these screenings, which directly indicate who is negative and who is positive. Korea has the highest general screening rate." I think it's time for Taiwanese to lay down its past glory. So, lockdown being one of the impacts of pandemic is only keeping life on hold instead of making changes. It should be a last resort instead of a common practice or a normal phenomenon. Thank you.